All right. This is the one that I'm really nervous to watch. I love Ray. I love Ray's channel. I like watching Ray's videos on my own. I don't just watch them with you guys. And this one is tough for me because the last video I watched, he was kind of calling out content creators specifically as a problem. And yes, he's not wrong that they can be, but I think this is a community-wide thing. And this is titled 4.0 was never going to be Q3. 4.0 was always going to be Q4. Also, stoicism as a backer and a sneak peek. So it's like, I don't want to be lectured here on how to feel. And that's my initial feelings just from the thumbnail, but we're going to watch it. And as always, we're going to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Hello, this is Danny Raymond, the voice behind Ray's Guide. I've been observing a negative strain in the comment sections of my latest videos and in the creator community in general. Even the normally level-headed morphologist is creating videos about losing hope. The proximate cause of
because that's how he feels. I don't understand.
all this was the release view changing to show 4.0 and all the jazz that is part of it, server meshing, Pyro, the new mission types, to be a fourth quarter release. Now, I understand that this has been a long and frustrating wait, but there is a fundamental truth behind it, one that really ought to have been obvious. 4.0.
Why does level-headed mean agrees with me? Have you noticed that? I don't necessarily think that's what Ray's saying. Why does level-headed mean has the same opinion as me? And unreasonable, blah, 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 all the stuff that people are saying now, shill, this, that, and the other doesn't agree. Oh, yeah, Doomer, right? Doesn't agree with me. That is like the last 4 years in a nutshell. You know what I mean? I feel like if I can point at one thing of like the worst things that have happened in the last 4 years, it would be this: everything is a battle, everything is a war, everything is a fight. And if they don't agree with me, they're the enemy. It's gotten so crazy.
Was always going to be a fourth quarter release. 4.0 is not just another quarterly release. It's the most significant addition to the game, whether you measure it by technology, scope, or gameplay, since the persistent universe was added in 3.0.
I think it's probably debatable that there was more items, like maybe gameplay items, added in 3.23, possibly. We'll have to see. And given that we've already played some of this stuff, do you consider it added? You can. Like in the tech preview and stuff, it's stuff we've already seen, and it's a lot of art, but I don't know. Yeah, I'm not going to argue that point. He's probably right.
It isn't being called 4.0 on a whim. It deserves that designation.
Yeah,
now, we
sure.
often wonder whether marketing drives everything at CIG, but in the case of an announcement,
it drives the release of patches. Yeah, I don't think it drives everything. I think it has a lot less pull than people think they do, but they do absolutely decide when a patch is coming out. Minimum twice a year, but now, because this year's been so bad, it's been every decision of when a patch is released has been a marketing decision.
Was something of the,
in my opinion,
import of 4.0, marketing is always going to be the lead department, no matter what the company. So, 4.0 was always going to be a SysMcon drop.
At what game development studio is marketing? I guess, what is he deciding what marketing is? Marketing doesn't decide what the priority of game development is. So this is the when Jared says thank you for for letting me share you the process of game development or whatever. He's sharing us the process with Star Citizen's game development. I don't think, I think somebody's pointing out like Larian. I don't think Larian, who made, I think it was Game of the Year, was driven by marketing at all. Now, is there a point in which marketing does become the most important piece of the puzzle? Yeah, it's when we're about to publish the game, right? So at some point, marketing is going to be absolutely the only thing that is important. And that's going to be around Squadron 42's release or whatever, right? And I don't think it's just Larian that does this. Like, during a game's alpha development, when they're not showing it to anybody and they don't have a live server that people always have to be playing on, marketing's not determining it. There may not even be too many people working in marketing. There may not be a marketing department at all, right? So this is CIG's choice. Again, the bed that CIG made, and they need to sleep in that bed, and they're dealing with a lot more of the problems that they have to deal with now that because of this. These problems have bloated and grown worse than Chris Roberts' feature creep. Right? The game has grown, and because of that, the problems with the choices they made on how they were going to do things have grown. And yeah, they're not in a good spot, and it shows. This year, it shows. And that's it. But to say that marketing is the most important at every single company, yes, making money in a business is the most important thing. But what we need to point out is they keep telling us that this is the way it is. No, it is not the way it is. It's the way you chose it to be. And you cannot put that blame on us. That is your choice, CIG. You made the choices, and you are dealing with the consequences of your choices, which is a bunch of backers who aren't happy with the progress you made this year.
3 weeks into
for a number
Q4.
of reasons. One of those reasons is stupid fucking marketing. Acting as if something was going to happen when they had no idea if it would or if it wouldn't. But if they were so good with game development, they would know that, right? So in the moment they're hyping you up about stuff, they're not telling you that it's not going to happen.
There was no way ever that 4.0 would go to a non-NDA PTU, so that every streamer on the planet would have shown off everything about it prior to the big show at CitizenCon, and thus render all the presentations and announcement at CitizenCon old news. So the sensible course would be that the EVO...
I'm under the impression, and I'm assuming Ray is too, that there was never a plan for CitizenCon to be about 4.0. I feel like it would have been a celebration of their success if they were talking about 4.0, like in the plans of what they had. I feel like CitizenCon could have started out with a celebration of like, hey, we reached this really, really important milestone. Like, I mean, if I was the devs at CIG, I would have started with champagne if they delivered on 4.0, right? No, regardless of the state, if you get that tech out there, it would have been a big deal. But yeah, like I would have started day one with, cheers. These are the things that we did, and we're really proud of what we've done, and we want to celebrate that with you. That's how I envisioned the 4.0 part of CitizenCon being, because we know what their goals were. Their goals were to get this stuff out, and they didn't hit their goals. And I don't think anybody making a video saying it was always going to be after it was, right? I think a lot of us thought it would be. But the I told you so after we already know that you're right is maybe a little bit weird. But Ray could have already made a video saying it's going to definitely come in Q4 because of CitizenCon and all that stuff. So he probably is, on that point and has a video that he can point to that is like, yeah, I did say this. So, but I don't think that really matters. I think what matters is their intentions. And I don't think that they ever intended to have CitizenCon be about 4.0. They very much pointed out that they wanted to go, to me at least, I think it was very obvious that the goal for CitizenCon this year was to show other star systems, and specifically not make it about Pyro.
NDA will run right up to the start of SysNCon on October 19th and then drop during or after SysNCon for maximum effect. No press before CitizenCon, a flood of press after CitizenCon.
Yeah, I think that's the plan now.
It isn't hard to understand. The timing of every major tease or announcement about Pyro has always been a CitizenCon event. Of course, the real McCoy Pyro would be as well. Although, to be perfectly honest, at this CitizenCon, I'm looking for some panels on the systems beyond Pyro, too. Now, what this could be is a CitizenCon announcement of 4.0, followed by a short-term technology preview FreeFly, or a CitizenCon announcement followed by a direct from Eva Coddy to Open PTU. Now,
probably, yeah.
How long after that will...
But again, hindsight is 2020. Right? It's very obvious now. Like we're pointing out 4.0 hasn't come out yet, so we have all these obvious things that are very obvious. And now we're acting like we know everything. Like obviously SitCon will have some 4.0 stuff and they'll show it there. I personally hope they don't say anything about 4.0. And that's it. LOL, I hate this guy, sorry. Well, okay, here's the thing. Is I don't like what he's saying right now. I don't necessarily agree with what he's saying. And you can hate someone for the opinions they have. It's America, right? You can do whatever you want, I guess. Or at least I live in America. And the internet's pretty free as well to have the opinions that you want. I don't think it's appropriate to come into somebody's Twitch chat and say that you hate someone because they have a different opinion than you. Especially you, Bobbin, because we had just talked about this before I started watching this video, right? There's a way to handle this. And it's, if you don't like their videos, there's a little button that you can press that says, do not recommend these videos anymore, right? And then you'll never see their videos again. It's an amazing little tool on YouTube. And I suggest people start using it, right? Instead of being hateful and getting mad, it's like, I don't ever have to, like somebody said, I never see Star Citizen content, period, anymore. But I don't think that we should be hating each other because we don't agree with each other. I do not hate Ray at all. I think Ray seems like a really nice guy. Do I think his tone has been condescending lately? Yes. Do I think he is using hindsight right now? Yes. But I don't hate the guy. That's crazy. That's crazy. And we talk about this community. I'm exaggerating. Yes, but I want you to understand, and this is something that you guys in Twitch chat will never understand, is that if Ray sees what you say and I let it go, or I'm like, oh yeah, I hate Ray too, then what kind of community are we creating together in Star Citizen? We're not creating a good one. We're creating a hateful one. And I'm seeing this more and more and more in the Star Citizen community. We're seeing other creators talking shit about each other. We're seeing other creators allowing their Twitch chats or their YouTube comments to act a certain way. And we're creating a divide in our community and becoming less of a community by doing this. We need to start accepting people. And sure, I don't have a responsibility to my community. I feel like I have a responsibility to the overall Star Citizen community to teach you guys how to behave. And maybe the overall Star Citizen content creator community. I'm sometimes unfortunately, but I am very fortunate to have an extremely successful Twitch channel in the Star Citizen directory. I don't consider myself an extremely successful Twitch channel at all, but in the Star Citizen directory, I am. And I think I'm doing okay on YouTube, right? And I'm very happy with where I am. And I think that because of where I am, I have a duty to lead the way in some aspects of content creation in this community. And this is the one that I think is the most important, is we can disagree with each other. I am not enjoying this video, right? I do not agree with anything that he is saying so far. But I think that we have a duty to respectfully disagree. And I'm trying. I think the last video I watched, I had a really hard time respectfully disagreeing with Ray. Right? But, yeah. So, keep those comments to yourself. Because if I saw those comments in another Twitch chat, and guess what? I did last week. It is a bad feeling. And the thing is that comment that was made was a lie. It was a lie about me. It wasn't real. And it made me look really, really bad. And it made other people make comments about me like, oh, I can't believe he did that, which I never did. And it was allowed to be said in someone's chat. And it creates this whole thing that shouldn't be a thing. Right? So I think I have a duty to tell you guys that's not acceptable. We should respect each other and be like, yeah, man, I do not agree with this at all, instead of, I hate that guy. Right? So.
We see a live version.
Chill.
Hey,
in short, TLDR, chill out.
My crystal ball is only so good,
game.
But the past history with fourth quarter releases is that if it isn't live by Christmas, we won't see live until New Year's.
Oh my God. Can we listen to that again? Ray's hitting us with the doctorate level takes here.
Only so good. But the past history with fourth quarter releases is that if it isn't live by Christmas, we won't see live until New Year's.
No shit.
More near term, I expect that now that 3.24 is live, we will soon see CIG scrape together everything ready enough to start testing and begin a feature incomplete but very long Evocati stage. Waiting until they had everything ready before starting Evocati on a release as big as 4.0 would be overwhelming to the testers anyway.
That's the one that I hate more than anything. I think CIG has abused the PTU and the Evocati to a point where it's gotten... There's a reason why this patch has been as bad as it has been, and 323 period. All of the 323 PTUs, I'm considering 324 part of that, is, and Ray knows, is that these patches are coming into Evo with many multiples of features not ready for feedback. People need to have their work done and ready for feedback. We are there to provide feedback for a patch and for features. And when we don't have them ready and then we're throwing them in last minute, this is what we get. We get a patch like this. We get a patch like 323, and we get multiple hot fixes, and we're spending all of our time fixing the old stuff and not working on the new stuff. That is the most unacceptable part of the PTU cycle, in my opinion, is people do not have their work done on time, but they are being allowed to extend their time period in which they can get it done and having no consequences to not getting their work done on time, right? If your work isn't ready, then it doesn't go in the patch. That's how I look at it. If it's not ready for us, then it's not ready for the patch. It's been too many years of this where we throw the last things in, and then it unstabilizes things or destabilizes things, and then everything goes wrong. I've seen it way too many times. Consequences, firing them, I just said the consequences. If your stuff is not ready, it doesn't go in the patch. People want to ship things. People want to see their stuff played. If your stuff isn't ready, it goes to the next patch. That's what I think it should be. I'm not saying fire people.
And with that out of the way, I thought
I
would be good to talk a little bit under the covers about how to better handle the emotional roller coaster of being a backer. Because unless you are really new around here, this obviously isn't the first and won't be the last disappointment that will come your way as a backer. Now, How do you keep these bumps from giving you whiplash? And for that, I'm going to rely on some very old wisdom. Marcus Aurelius had perhaps the toughest job in the world, emperor of the Roman Empire. And unlike the more famous ones, he was both sane and competent. And perhaps as a cause or result of this, he recorded his thoughts before turning in for the night. And unintentionally, he created what is considered a masterwork of ethical philosophy.
We could probably, Roman build, we could probably watch this and learn something from this.
Meditations.
So let's
start with this one. You have the power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. You have no control over whether a release is buggy or not, whether a feature gets fixed or not. You have no control. You can control, though, your reaction to it. You can
absolutely control your reaction to it. And what should your reaction be? There is one thing that we have as members of this community. We are the backers. We're not investors, we're backers. So the only power that you do have is to share your feelings. We should not be pushing our feelings down. Now, if you are emotionally distraught by Star Citizen, then you should absolutely take the power over your mind and remove this, game from your life, or do what you need to do to be happy. I'm, contrary to popular belief, I got a great life. I'm really happy. But I'm not really happy about the way Star Citizen is being handled right now. I'm not happy about it. And that's the only thing that we have that we can use. A lot of people say don't spend any more money. You can do that, but I think everybody knows that if you just boycott Star Citizen, that they just close the doors, the game ends, and all the potential that this game has is just lost and for naught. So you got to tell them that their behavior is unacceptable, and you could do it with your money, and that will hit them harder than anything. But I think it would eventually lead to it just closing, and it would not be good. I don't spend money on the game anymore. I might buy the occasional skin here and there, but I absolutely will not be buying ships or anything like that. And I don't think that you should either, right? But I'm not going to go out there and create get a bunch of signatures and create a boycott. You do whatever the fuck you want with your money. I'm not going to sit here and tell you what to do with it. But I think that we should be voicing our opinions about the way they communicate to us, about priorities in the game's development, and the way they handled this year. Sorry, the way you handled this year fucking sucked. And again, I said it in the last video that I made on my main channel. I think if they were to give themselves a grade, it would not be a passing one. So why the fuck are we defending these people? Why are we making videos defending bad behavior? We shouldn't be. We should point out that it was bad behavior, and we should tell them, do better next time. And these are the things that I think are important. I don't know why you don't think they're important. And they can take it or leave it. And most likely, they'll leave it because they have for 12 years. And maybe I'm crazy, but I will continue to tell my feelings and say my disappointments and my praise. And my praise. Right? It's hilarious that within a week, I'm a shill and I'm a hater. And you know what? That's how I know I'm doing well. Because all I'm doing is the emotions come in, and then I just say what they are and say what I'm feeling, and then that's it. And then I go back to my unmiserable life.
Control whether you are angry, frustrated, or indifferent. Whichever you do, the timetable of the game will not change, but you will. If your reaction is automatic, it changed from Q3 to Q4, ergo I must be angry and despair, then the game controls you, not you control you.
Okay. It's like saying that I think stoicism is one of the stupidest fucking things in the world. I'm sorry. I think stoicism is super weird, fucking like Giga Chad cringe, TikTok fucking shit. Like I don't understand some of this stuff. Is if there's anybody who understands mental health and what people go through, maybe Ray has somebody in his life, or maybe Ray's dealt with it himself. I have someone in my life, and not allowing yourself to, trying to push things down and push them away is not necessarily the way to do it. Sharing your feelings, talking about them, feeling them, understanding why you feel them. Yeah, it's pretty important. It's kind of what being a fucking human is. And I think stoicism is trying to tell people to not feel human emotions and not feel anything. And that's not how I live my life. That's not how I think a lot of people live their lives. And like my cat just died, Was I not supposed to cry? Was I not supposed to feel sadness? I owed that to her, right? That's crazy. I owed her the love.
If your reaction is based
problem,
on,
man?
say, what someone else reacts to on their YouTube channel, they control you, and not you control you. Being your own master of your reactions is...
And I can't control it, because I'm a fucking human being. Holy shit.
What gives you power over things over which you are powerless, like game development. And that, in a nutshell, is what stoicism is.
Now, we are not powerless over game development. CIG is not powerless over game development. What you are doing here, Ray, is saying that all of the mistakes that they have made over all of the years, it can be chalked up to game development, which is exactly what they do. And that is the biggest thing that you could point at them as to what they have done wrong and the mistakes that they've made is, it's just game development. And to some extent, that's true. But if we look at actual game development, it's not. It is the way they chose to run game development, and choices have consequences. Every choice you make in your life has a consequence. Sometimes those consequences are good, sometimes they're indifferent, sometimes they're really bad. Some of the choices CIG has made have been really, really good for them. Selling spaceships. This one has two consequences. Selling spaceships. They removed the ability to use spaceships as like perfect linear progression, right? I move from an Aurora to this, to that, to that. That, and like, obviously, they're like a progression tree almost. They removed that completely. That cannot be a thing. Because, well, they didn't remove it completely, but the value of it has gone down so much because people can skip that progression by spending money, right? So they made a shit ton of money because of that. Positive for them. But they made game design for themselves much more complicated. Negative, right? Everything has positives and negatives. It's not just, it's game dev. Oh, guys, it's game dev. Oh, don't blame me. It's just game dev. You know what I mean? It can't be like that. And it's not like that. And I think we're making excuses for bad behavior for no fucking reason. For no reason. Some of the behavior's been good. Some of the behavior's been bad. I can't point out that much good this year, unfortunately. But there's a lot of good things. So, no. There's a lot of good things with, I think, we've talked a lot about crappy communication, but I think ISC has been amazing this year. I think the way they unfortunately, until they hit the wall they were never expecting to hit, game dev, they had great content plans every single week. We had something to sink our teeth into in Star Citizen until I think like maybe May, maybe June. So they had 6 months of things for you to do in game, videos that were really, really interesting and fun to watch and easy to break down and all this cool stuff that was going on. And then they hit the milestone that was apparently always supposed to be Q4, but definitely wasn't. It was nowhere. Just open your eyes. Right? There was always something to talk about because now was when we were supposed to be playing 4.0, not talking about it. Right? But it was not always going to be Q4.
Or to put it another way,
they didn't do anything in the first 3 months. I think we had a couple of weeks off of like video content. It was like maybe like a month, and then they came right in with ISCs and in-game events, and there was always something. I never had a month where there wasn't a week where there wasn't something to, at minimum, talk about.
If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. So if you're losing hope, that's actually on you. You can revoke it, along with you if you are feeling angry, disappointed.
I remember when a pill farm told my wife, who was thinking horrible things, just told them to do this. Yeah. We got a new therapist pretty quickly after that, and wow, our life's changed so much.
Or whatever. You can choose to just enjoy what is in 3.24, to be fixated that it still isn't 4.0, or...
Now, part of this is, yeah, like you feel the thought, you recognize it, and you let it go. But you're allowed to recognize it. You're allowed to recognize it. Morph recognized it. He put that feeling into a video, and he put it out there to his community. I don't think this has anything to do with anything other than people know that Morph has influence, and they don't like that he is influencing the game in a negative way. Ever. Because nobody had a problem when Morph's opinions were positive. But when they're negative, then it's bad. We should have no opinions.
Take a vacation.
If we're stoics.
Neither will change the completion of 4.0 by a day, but they will change you.
And I've absolutely used stoicism before, just so you guys know. And it can be used in certain applications, and I think is fine. But I don't think if you're upset about something that you invested your time in, I don't know. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I did it with poker. One of the things that I did is, in poker, when you rake in a huge pot, it's like, the best feeling ever. And I noticed that if I allowed myself to feel like incredibly happy about winning this, $500 or whatever, and I'm picking up all the chips and watching the guy mad at me for picking up all his chips and stacking them up all nice and neatly. If I felt too good about that, I would feel really shitty when I lost it. So I just tried to have very little emotion when it came to that stuff. So, yes, is there something in what Ray's saying? Sure. But why are we calling out a streamer content creator like Morph who just wanted to put a video out there about what he was feeling? There's nothing wrong with that.
As Marcus Aurelius also said, everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth. So what is the perspective you bring to this? Is your perspective that the world is full of incompetence, full of unexpected events, or full of things to be enjoyed right now because life's too short to not be focused on what exists rather than what doesn't.
Life is all of those things. Life is all of those things, Ray.
All three are true,
Yes.
And always have been and always will be. Which do you live in? And then there is this one more quote from Marcus Aurelius. Dwell on the beauty of life. Watch the stars and see yourself running with them. Think of that. Nearly 2 millennia ago, this Roman emperor is dreaming of spaceflight. How utterly fundamental to the human condition is this dream of running among the stars, of being, well, a star runner. And maybe we get too caught up in the details to appreciate the wonder of just being able to watch the stars and see ourselves running with them. And that's my perspective. I'm having fun already.
And nothing about Morph's video said there was anything wrong with that. That is the argument that gets made all the time. If I'm upset and I'm not having fun, that is not a video, if I'm making a video about it, Morph's making a video about it, whatever. That is not me telling you that you're wrong for having fun. I have fun in Star Citizen sometimes. I do not have fun in Star Citizen overall because I know what I want out of my games, right? And Star Citizen's going in that direction. I've been talking about it for years. Finally seeing them go in those directions of more like MMO style gameplay stuff, right? It's really exciting for me. So when I get a taste of it, but they don't really fully go into it, it's a bummer and I feel bad, right? And it sucks. Them focused on like literally what's on the screen. Like so much time is being spent on the NPC experience at these settlements that are not the game they're building, right? From what I can tell, the true Star Citizen experience is probably going to be spent, if they deliver on anything, is going to be spent on interactions between each other, the players, not as much on this, these really handcrafted, super takes forever kind of things. They're eventually going to have to move away from this stuff and just give players the tools to create the content more easily for themselves. I took this whole video as him saying it's time for people to take a break from the game. Yeah, probably. I mean, I guarantee he's going to say take a break before by the time I unpause this. Right, we have a little bit of this section of the chapter left in this video. Did he already? I missed it. Yeah, I'm just I don't really understand the critiques of literally the biggest YouTuber in our space, who has been wildly successful and understands what he's doing. Of the critiques of people that, put a lot of time, put a lot of effort, done a lot of thinking, and then decided to put a video out there, knowing full well that it was going to bother some people. But this is a little bit crazy. This Morph is a known crier. Remember this? The A2 take. Yeah, everybody remembers the A2 take. Okay. You're here watching me. If Morph's a known crier, what am I? I would have drowned in my tears then. If Morph's a known crier. Right? You're allowed to be upset about things. The A2 is absolutely a win button. Didn't people get banned for A2 bombing like an event? He was literally right. Like, he wasn't wrong about any of this shit. He got shit again earlier this year for saying, this is not going to be a watershed year. Everyone gave him shit. Yes, it will. I bet you Ray did. And now all of a sudden, when hindsight's 2020, we get to shit talk Morph because he was wrong. Or whatever, right? But we're not pointing that out because he wasn't wrong. So he got shit for saying 323 is delayed, and it was. I gave him shit for that because he framed it in a way that April was late when April is not late for that patch. Now, it came way later than April, so he was right about that. But the way he framed it in the video was that April equals late, and everybody was like, well, no, Morph, April does not equal late. And it was very easy to look and see that April does not equal late. Him and other streamers. Okay, so you're a hate watcher. All right, we're confirming this, but I'm going to read your comments because, again, everybody is entitled to their own opinions. Him and other streamers crying is why whenever we get some bug that adds a bit of entertainment into the game, it immediately gets patched the crap out. I love that comment because everybody remembers, i.e. salvaging in hangars, bloody Amazon simulator. Salvaging in hangars was not removed because of streamers. Salvaging in hangars was removed because of money. But I see you were influenced by a certain video of someone who doesn't know what they're talking about. So let me share with you a little something, because you guys have a very short memory. So for the people who think that streamers are the bad people and YouTubers are the bad people, and specifically around this subject, you're probably right. I mean, come on, content creators are silly. We're the worst. Society is crumbling because of social media. Let's be real here, okay? Like nobody's going to disagree with that. But there's something we forgot. Do you guys remember the dupe bug that was in 323 for like a month straight and nothing was fixed and it ruined the game completely? And we pointed it out before. They do not always fix things. I pointed it out in PTU, and I sent direct messages to people saying this is going to be a problem. And nothing was done because we got to ship a patch out for a ship sale. And then the entire game's economy was ruined, still is ruined, and they took a little bit of money and banned some people for it. But only the most egregious people, right? So to point out the fact that things are removed immediately all the time because of this, that, and the other thing, it's just not true. It just isn't true. So be genuine. You know, make sure you know what you're talking about. And just because this exploit is being removed immediately probably just means that it was really easy to remove. That's all.
And on the subject of fun, I've been having fun on a side project that will be the subject of a set of videos coming up. But I think, hey, CIG does sneak peeks of what's coming ahead. Why shouldn't I?
All right, what's Ray up to?
Here it is, a sneak peek.
Oh, he's modeling something. A base. He's making his own base, I think.
Look quick. And now for an update on our ship giveaways. To start with, we have a special membership level to cover the cost of doing live coverage at CitizenCon with its own giveaway for a Hull C, the colossal cargo container carrying craft. And although I am still expecting to make the trip to Manchester, the giveaway, just to be sure, will occur even if for unforeseen circumstances, the live coverage will have to be done remote. Plus, we have our regular Grow the Channel ship giveaway for the Zippy Zazzy Zaftig Zephyr, the Zeus 2 cargo, of which we are just waiting for the subscriber goal for, as well as the marvelous multiplayer, multi-role mining meta, the Arasta. One entry per video, be a member for automatic entry with each video, or subscribe and comment, somehow including the secret word. And the secret word for this video is what you think the sneak peek is of. Fly safe, keep it real, and I'll see you in the verse. This is Danny Raymond for Ray's Guide.
All right, so how I'll conclude this react, I guess, is a lot of what Ray said about stoicism, or hey, don't get too emotionally attached to this stuff, is not wrong, dude. Is not wrong. But if somebody like Morph wants to say, hey, I'm disappointed in the progress of this game, He's allowed to. He's allowed to. And that's like got to be something that's allowed to happen. You cannot tell people how they have to feel. I think that again, coming from someone who's done this for a while and who has been very bad at communicating as well. Like, hey, I give CIG issues with their communication, but I definitely struggle with mine in the sense of I'm not telling other people how to feel. I'm just telling you how I feel. And that's all Morph was doing. Morph said, this is how I feel. Right? And that's it. It is my Twitch channel. It's my YouTube channel. I could tell you how I feel just the same way that Ray told you how he wants to feel, right? And how he thinks you should feel. He's entitled to say those things. But everything that we say will come back to us based on the way people take it, right? And I don't think a lot of people are going to take Ray's video as very helpful. It did feel condescending, especially towards Morph or the other creators in the space. It felt like I'm doing it the right way and nobody else is, and that's just not how it works. Morph's doing it the right way. Ray's doing it the right way because it's their channel. They can do whatever they want, and yeah, it's this game needs to come out with some content because this is getting we're getting frustrated. It's bad. If this game doesn't come out with content soon, it's just going to continue to get worse like this.